bell. Make sure everybody else is out. Thanks for everybody being here, and isn't it great to be back home? We love the place. Invocation, Mr. Quinn.
I got something here. Buster had sent me something that was really, really nice, and I got reading it, and I realized what it really was Buster had tweaked the Carolina fight song. So as opposed to sending all of our enemies to the nether regions, we'll do this. If you'll please bow your heads. Lord, help us to ever remember those guardians who stood in harm's way to protect our loved ones and us. Bless and keep those guardians of liberty and their loved ones, just as they blessed us and ours with the service in the name of freedom. Amen. We stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And of the things we think, say, and do,
is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Dan. Mr. Wayne.
Well, we have 4 guests here today. We have Jed Trumpage, who's a guest of Lisa Simpson. We have Mike Bateman, who's a guest of Ralph Jones. We have Jim Morgan, who's a guest of Walt Howe. And we have Jess Washburn, who's a guest of Kelly Harrell.
All those visiting Duke fans. All right, Dale.
Buster Lewis is going to be celebrating a birthday on November 28th. They always manage to sneak away. We have 2 anniversaries, then they happen to be on the same day for the same number of years. Ralph Jones and Cooper Trotter for 12 years on November 30th. And wedding anniversary, Ralph Jones, 14 years on the 26th.
Actually, it's 24.
Yeah.
Let's say 14.
Thanks for the reminder, Dale.
Makes a difference.
Contract's up on here.
Makes a difference.
Ms. Foster, announcements.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a good week and a good weekend ahead. We'll start putting the bug in everyone's ear that the 11th is going to be the first day to sign up. Well, not the first day to sign up, but first sign up for ringing the bell in front of Great Outdoor Divisions. I don't want to start pushing the sheet right yet because I don't want to burn everybody out on it, but it's coming. And we'll start bugging it maybe around next week, and I'm going to hit you hard. So thank you.
Are we doing 1 or 2?
Appreciate it, Matthew.
We're doing about 2 weeks.
Another announcement, I talked about Polio Plus. I think we had great participation in the club, and we are exceeding $6,000 now. Is that correct? That's correct. Over 6,000. I think some people had committed, so just need to get with Mike, and there's still some time to kick in. We wanted to have 100% participation, whether it's $5, $50, or $500. So please keep that in mind. If you haven't given, call Mike and give him a little bit of money. And Mike, as a segue, can you talk to us about being a benefactor in our club? That's something we've done. It's we're trying to get back to a Triple Crown membership, and Mike, you explain this much better. So.
Yeah, we are a Triple Crown Club. This is Foundation Month, so it's a perfect time to pitch this. And being a Triple Crown Club means that everybody is a Paul Harris Fellow, which we all know when we come in, that's a prerequisite. We're all sustaining in that we give $100 every year to the Rotary Foundation. And we want to be all benefactors. And what a benefactor is says when we're gone from this good earth, that we will give $1,000 to our Rotary Foundation. To be Triple Crown, we do all 3 of those. We don't have all benefactors now. We have about 11 newer members that are not. I have a little letter of intent that you can put with your will. You don't have to change your will. And I have the form for you to sign. I do the rest for you. I'll send it in and do everything else to get it to the Rotary Foundation. So if you hear from me in the next few days, and if you're here today, and I've got the forms, by the way, I'll give you the forms, and I'll find you probably by the end of the meeting, so I can give you the forms so that we can get this done. But guess what? There's 53,000 clubs in all of Rotary. We were number 3 in the Rotary world to be a Triple Crown club, so we should be very proud of that.
Yeah, it's not hard to get. It's not going to be hard to get by there, and you're not going to miss the money because you're going to be going anyway. So. All right, this is overdue, but I did want to knock this out for our pig stock. We've got some winners here that I've had the ribbons for a couple weeks. Third place, ribs, Mr. Justice. Woo! Second place, runner-up in chicken, Chris Justice. Woo! Second place in chili. He'll probably stand up.
Miss Kelly here.
Yeah, Miss Kelly. And finally, one that we pride ourselves probably most is the Pigstock People's Choice winner. And we raised the most money in the whole event. So that's the proudest, and we're going to pass this along to Mr. President, our captain.
Read the names. What are the names on it?
Yeah, each year, starting back from 13 would be Gate City Rotary. 13 is Gate City Rotary. 14 is Gate City Rotary. 15 is Gate City Rotary. And then last year it was Gate City Rotary. And, so let's give it up for Chip Perkins for packing.
Thank everybody for participating. It's a club event. Thank you.
Good deal. Any other announcements? How about football?
Sure. We have,
Hey, Chrissy,
I missed you on, I missed football pool. So I was at Pinehurst though, so I have to say the food was comparable, the company was not, so it's good to be back. So our Judd Award, we just have to mention he is not here. But this is unprecedented because he is a third-time Judd winner, Danny Carter. And
That's fine.
so when he gets back, what we will do is I'm collecting business cards from our dentist for Danny. So then our next runner-up for that was Dennis Marcotte, who's also not here. Ironically, Danny was our winner the previous week. So in James' words, he went from the penthouse to the outhouse. Our third-time winner of the Judd Award this week is Dale Melton. So our winner this week, runner-up, we had a 5-way tie. Once we broke that out, Rob Midget is our runner-up and the winner of a North State hat.
Awesome.
And a Carl Mayer pen. There you are. So our winner is not a first-time winner. This week it is, once again, congratulations to Walt. Wow.
Thank you, Chris.
I was sitting next to Walt, by the way.
All right, on the Rotary Feud, keep the little theme going that we have. We're going to keep it with the holidays, and since we have such a big table of guests and guest speakers, we're going to let them be one of the families today. All right. We have the Harrell family, all right, and we got the Middleton family. And the way we do this, guys, this is like a family feud. If they miss a question, I'm going to point over here, and I'll give them the buzzer. Like, okay? Everybody knows the buzzer? All right. Name a popular Thanksgiving tradition is the question.
Pass.
You want to pass or play?
Oh, that's an easy one. Come on, guys.
I gave you a
Can't pass on that one.
All right, it's up to you guys. Starting off with you, Mr. Harrell. Name a popular Thanksgiving tradition.
Cooking a turkey.
That means no. Hold your buzzer, okay? No cooking.
What kind of game is this, Ralph?
What country did you call this Make sure it's not on there.
Vegan world.
Ding, ding, ding. We'll give them eating food. We'll give you that.
They polled like a group of millennials, I guess, that don't eat turkey.
All right, no extras. We'll give it to them. But you, since you said eat pumpkin pie.
Watching football.
Ding, ding, ding. Number 4 answer. Well,
Going to grandmother's house. Going to relative's house.
visiting family. Ding, ding, ding. What are you doing over
Can we hug
That time will come. There you go. Hey, I need y'all for a second. He said taking a nap, and it's not on there. Well, you think it's 7 in the morning. Montross, we got a couple answers left.
Going to Portland for a basketball tournament.
Oh, you got 2 answers left. But they already said one. All right.
Watching the parade.
Watching the parade.
All right, is that your final answer? Watching the parade.
Cooking a turkey, that's ridiculous. I mean, really? I have doubts about that polling process. That's what I do.
Ain't cooking a turkey without any pumpkin pie. Oh, there you find it. All right, thanks a lot. Bobby, do you have a handout? I do. Handout.
That's sort of like short selling in the stock market.
Rob, I got a couple. So I got 2 kids, and you know, we talked about them never taking advice, those that have kids. Well, our son has taken our advice. We told him all these years, and he's finally taken it. He graduated from Appalachian. And walked in May, and he just took off yesterday, heading to Colorado to ski instruct for a season. So we didn't tell him to ski instruct, but we told him, you know, before you get nailed down in a career, go out and have fun. So when your firstborn does that, you start going, did I really say that? And our daughter is still, she's a Tar Heel, but she's studying abroad in Florence, and so both kids are going to be gone for Thanksgiving. This is a first time. So,
Party at your house?
no, we won't be there. Susan and I are going to the Grove Park Inn. So,
Yeah. So, as you may remember, we had a gentleman speak to us, Richard Jones, from the African American Male Initiative, which is part of an initiative locally here that pairs children, at-risk children with mentors. And he spoke to us, gave a very inspiring speech. And you may also remember that we paired his organization with our North Carolina Wildlife Habitat Foundation Future Generation, which is our middle school and high school group of kids who are dedicated to being involved in the outdoors. And last year, for the first time, we brought 60 at-risk kids from Wiley Elementary, part of Richard's group, out to Burr Mill Park, and our Future Generation kids, youth, gave them a day of wildlife education, and which was remarkable. That same thing is going to happen this Sunday out at Burr Mill Park, which we're really excited about. Several of our members' kids are involved. Ralph's son's involved. My friend Jess's son's on the board. So it's a great, great initiative, and will be a day of archery, fishing. We have wildlife biology guests there. Our North Carolina bow hunters are out there teaching them how. So if you ever want to come out between 2 and 4:30 on Sunday to Burn Mill Park and see it, it's an amazing day. We end with a cook-off. But a lot of these kids, you know, they never have ever never had an opportunity to fish, never have an opportunity to shoot a bow and arrow and learn about the preservation of wildlife habitat and how it relates to their life. So Rotary gave a $500 grant, and Lawton Gresham came and spoke last year to us about it, as well as my daughter Maggie. So thank you for that, and come out and be with us if you can on Sunday. Thanks.
Dr. Sears.
I need some change, but I'm in $5.
It's a one-way trip.
15 years ago, actually last month, I transferred my life's work to Dr. Reynolds, and it was an incredible thing, and I'm so proud of him and what he's done. And nobody could have done a better job with it, and I'm just real thankful and real proud every day for what he's done.
So my happy dollar today is for my 16-year-old who was inducted into the National Honor Society.
So things are hard at the bank, so 4 quarters. Right. Just a real quick shout out for Olivia, my youngest, the 15-year-old. This is her first year at Page, and she made the Playmakers. She was cast in a play. They had their first show last night, so if you're free tonight or tomorrow night, go take a look at my baby performing.
What's the show?
It's called Crazy Town. Yes. Thank
Just a happy dollar for my friend and neighbor James, who lent his sturdy Rotary back to help me move some furniture.
Good morning. Well, the other day I walked into Grandpappy's house, and he and Grandmammy appeared to be having an argument. I said, "What is going on?" Grandpappy says, "Oh, I'm just explaining why I'm right."
Yeah, right. Fantastic. Well, good morning, everyone, and I'm delighted to be able to introduce our guest speaker today, Eric Montross, who I'm lucky enough to call a friend. Most of you know Eric from his basketball career. Just a reminder for those Duke fans in the room that don't remember, Eric was part of the 1993 National Championship team and spent 9 years with a very successful career in the NBA. He's currently the Major Gift Director at the UNC Educational Foundation, which many of you are familiar with. It helps scholar athletes to do great things within their careers. And also is, if you were up late last night, and thank you to Eric for being here, is also the color analyst for Tar Heel Sports Network. So he probably didn't get to bed till midnight last night. Made it here about 7 o'clock. So thank you for the effort. What you probably don't know about Eric, and what is so inspiring and what I love about him, is his work post-career. And in that, he has spent, and he and his wife Laura have spent the better part of their life dedicating their efforts towards helping children in various capacities. Eric and his wife Laura started the Eric Montross Father's Day basketball camp at Carolina that supports the UNC Children's Hospital. I was fortunate enough with both of my daughters, Maggie and Haley, to be a part of that camp for 6 years in a row. An amazing camp that allows parents and children to be together for a weekend over Father's Day, and then also introduces them to UNC Children's Hospital and all that goes on there. And this is a fundraiser, and it raises a lot of money for the basketball camp. But Eric also is involved in some other things that are just amazing.
the Super Cooper Little Red Wagon Foundation, which supporting families in the fight against pediatric brain cancer, Be Loud Sophie Foundation, which supports young adolescent, adult cancer patients, and Vaccine Ambassador, which raises money to vaccinate children worldwide, as well as the Audacity Factor, which is an incubator that focuses positively impacting lives on people around the world. So I'm pleased to introduce my good friend Eric Montross, and he's going to speak for a little while, but he's also going to give you a good 10 or 15 minutes to ask questions about anything you'd like to ask, so you can rest assured you'll have a chance to ask those questions. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Montross.
Good morning. Such good material today in the introductions. I've learned that Black Friday, which doesn't happen on Thanksgiving, is actually the key to Thanksgiving. I've also learned that I'll be coming to Chris's house for chicken and ribs tonight. And Miss Kelly will be cooking chili. And for those of you, if you're not a Carolina guy or gal, then you may have fun poking fun at me on this one, but I did not realize that chili had 2 L's in it. But apparently, but apparently if both of your husband and wife have 2 L's in your name, then you get 2 L's in chili. So all that's great. And poor Justin had to go to the antique sale to find a rookie card of mine. And that's great. So Justin, bless you, my friend, and we'll do a little card drawing later, and we hope you win so that you can go pay the bills on that high dollar. But I do appreciate the opportunity to be here. I think Kelly and I have a long history, and certainly thank you for the kind words about our camp. We've been doing it for 23 years. We never thought that it would live much past my basketball career, and it has only gotten better thanks to people like you and so many people from Greensboro and surrounding states and communities that have brought their kids and shared Father's Day weekend with us, doing something that we believe is very worthwhile, and that's raising funds for the North Carolina Children's Hospital, which is not just Carolina, right? It is all 100 counties in this fine state, and I think that dovetails nicely into a couple other pieces. You mentioned vaccine ambassadors, which I know that you all have been raising money. I think you said you've raised over $6,000 for the Polio Plus campaign. Vaccine ambassadors, if you have any interest, it's a really cool idea. It wasn't mine. There's an RN in Durham, and her name is Jackie Kaufman. She's been around the world. She recognized that there were 1.5 million children dying every year from vaccine-preventable diseases. When you think about the numbers, and this is not a pitch for vaccine ambassadors, but a support of what you're doing through the Polio Plus campaign, and also what the Vaccine Ambassadors program is doing. There are 19.5 million kids born every year in the world, and 1 out of 5 of those kids goes without vaccines. And that's something that to us, we think of, you stand up and you give $1 for being happy and healthy, right? Because the other side of that is the health. And without your health, doesn't matter what you do for your career. It doesn't matter what your life's work may have been or who you may have passed it on to and how proud you are. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And so I think that's why all this dovetails nicely into being able to be here today to talk to a group of Rotarians who believe in service. And that's really what I want to have, an interactive moment with you. And Kelly said, talk for 60 minutes, give them 10 minutes to ask questions. No, so don't worry, that's a joke, okay? But I do want to tell you just a little bit about how I became involved. And again, this is not about me, it's really a reflection about how all of us have opportunities that are laid in front of us throughout our lifetime. And then I believe it's our responsibility as Christians or as people within humanity to go out and serve other folks. Certainly our parents, for many of us who are fortunate enough to grow up with parents in our home, it starts there. And that's something that I think that many of you who are here today who have children your daughter, obviously, you're very proud of her and you've nurtured her throughout her life, and you have opportunities to teach other folks. You find things that you believe are good, and then you want to instill those good things in those who you love and who you care about. That was the case for myself growing up in Indiana. My parents were very active in the community. My father, as an attorney, was always looking to serve other areas, the other folks who did not have the capacity to hire an attorney. That was an example for me. My mother was a social worker, ended up going back to school. She started out as a teacher for mentally and physically handicapped children, and then went back to school as a social worker, busted the curve because she went back at age 45, I think, and just set the standards for those, made all the college kids really irritated that some lady 45 years old was coming in setting the curve. But there was a great example for me growing up at home. Not everybody has that, and I recognize the good fortune that I had to have that in my life. But also, when I came to school at Chapel Hill, and again, you don't have to be a Carolina fan, I think, to respect and admire the work that Coach Smith has done, or had done in his lifetime, and really how he impacted humanity. Humanity is a big word, but I think when you think about what he did and how he acted and what he responded to and where his passions were, he stood up for things that he believed in. And they didn't always have to be popular. When Charlie Scott came to town to play for him, it was not a popular thing. It was popular to Dean Smith, because he was one that believed that that was the right thing to do at the right time. That was an opportunity that he capitalized on, and it has really helped craft the world of collegiate sports, and we're very thankful for that. So I think a lot of us respect what he did. So as a young man going through his program at Carolina, I had the opportunity to learn from him, to learn from his wife Linnea, who was an advocate for women's rights. As a college student, you kind of have blinders on. You think that your world is the four corners of the quad and the buildings that are within it. And for those of you who remember the blue books, and you had to go and get your blue books before you went to write your essays in class, that was like the thing that kept you aligned to the end of the semester, just to get through midterms and finals, and then do it all over again. But along the way, I learned that there was something bigger than what I saw. What I saw was the immediate path. What I was being taught was the bigger good and the bigger world and all of the opportunities that lie out there. And then it's a matter for us to reach out and grab them. And so along the way, he instilled in me a respect for the medical world, to go and volunteer at the Children's Hospital as a student athlete at Carolina, to be thankful for the education that I was being given by a donor. Ends up coming full circle. That is now what I do, is raise funds for our scholarships for our student athletes at the University of North Carolina. And that's something I never thought I would do. For those of you who ever thought that you'd be a fundraiser, you didn't, right? You never thought you'd be a fundraiser. You never thought you'd be the person who walks into a room and asks someone to help support. But then you do it and you realize there's a way to do it and a right way to do it. And the causes that you support are really good ones, and that's another opportunity. And so as I walk through, the Children's Hospital has been a very big and important part of our life. Coach Smith took us to children's hospitals in different areas when we played across the country. I remember being in Cincinnati during the NCAAs, going to Cincinnati Children's Hospital. What do a bunch of kids at Carolina who playing basketball know about kids in Cincinnati? It didn't matter. They knew us. They recognized us, and we had a chance to positively impact their day, to make them smile. When I walked through the door at the North Carolina Children's Hospital and have to duck on a 6'8" door frame, that child in that hospital bed giggled. Yeah, and I didn't even hit my head. They giggled. They giggled. And that was something that in some small way gave them an opportunity to smile. That's a gift. It's an opportunity. And so from that point on, I started recognizing how much I, in turn, received from these experiences of trying to touch other people's lives, just through gifts that I had been given. It wasn't something that I crafted. It wasn't a light bulb that went off in my mind. It was just an opportunity. And sometimes you stumble through those doors and find great horizons out in front of you. And that has been a true gift, and it has been a life's work for my wife and me to be a part of the North Carolina Children's Hospital and watch young people have their lives advanced in front of others and watch their outcomes be improved because of the generosity of folks who partake in events that we've hosted or that we've been a part of. That's been another gift. I think that there are all kinds of opportunities, whether it's vaccine ambassadors, whether it's your hosting of a golf tournament or a 5K or the Polio Plus campaign. I think that the message that I got from Coach Smith was one that do not sit back and look at your life and think all is well. Go and do and make sure that all is well. And I remember so many times people will ask me, much like I asked Coach Smith, they said, "Do you ever get tired of signing autographs?" Just like when Justin came in. Believe me, I love that. What I really want to do is have my 19 and 17-year-olds sitting here saying, "Dad, that's cool," right? I remember when my daughter was, I think she was 5 years old, and she said, "Daddy, why do you sign paper napkins at dinner?" I said, "Honey, I don't know." I really don't understand that, but amen to the people that want to do it. But Coach Smith, but that story goes back many years before that when I was playing at Carolina and I was walking through the Raleigh-Durham airport with Coach Smith. And Coach Smith, we dropped our bags, if you remember the old, back when there was no need for TSA, you walk in, you dump your bag on the conveyor belt, and you just walk to your gate. And we were walking through the terminal at Raleigh-Durham Airport, and a gentleman came up to Coach Smith, and of course he was great with names, so Coach Smith recognized him, and let's say his name was John Smith, right? So really difficult name, but he said, "John, it's good to see you." They talked for just a moment. I was with Coach Smith, so I stood there and waited on him to finish his conversation. When he got done, two things. I said, "Coach, when was the last time that you," I said, "obviously a friend of yours." He said, "No, I haven't seen him in 7 years. I played golf with him in a fundraiser down at Pinehurst. Didn't know the gentleman before I played. Been 7 years." He remembered his name. I said, "That is amazing." Now, that's a familiar story, but then I said, "Coach, do you ever get tired of people coming up and wanting to talk to you or signing autographs?" And again, I'm a 20-year-old kid going through college, and I don't know. And he said, "Eric," he said, "one day it will all end, so enjoy it while it lasts." And I think that for all of us, that's bigger than an autograph. It's bigger than a picture. It's the handshake you give to a child who needs that handshake that day. It's the food bank that you support. It's the children that you support through your church community. It's the high schools that you support. It's the kids who are in the drama classes that support, that go out and perform on stage. It's doing the little things that give people an inner will and an ability to feel mighty. And sometimes you never know, well, you don't. You never know where your impact will be felt. And I think that is a true blessing when that comes full circle and you do recognize how that can be felt. When I started, when Laura and I started our basketball camp that Kelly talked about, it was 6 years before I ever saw any return on what we were actually doing in the Children's Hospital. Just to give you a snapshot, we take the money from the hospital or from our camp, and we give 100% of our camper donations, so we have an underwriting that occurs for our camp, so that every penny that comes in then goes out and is deployed within the hospital. We call it, Laura and I call it Christmas in July. Camp happens on Father's Day in June. We end up tallying the totals, go into the hospital, meet with doctors, nurses, other staff members, and figure out where are the important things that we can impact the hospital. How can we make sure that our campers feel like their dollars, the dad's dollars that are coming in, are being deployed and making an impact, because it needs to be an impact today. That's something we have to represent to our camp. And we love it. We have an opportunity to live through the generosity of the people that we're surrounded with. And I think that, more than anything, it's not a story of a 7-foot basketball player. It's not a story of a guy who had the good fortune to win a national championship or a guy who played in the NBA for 10 years. It's a story that all of us have. It's a story that we all craft if we open our mind's eye to the opportunities that we have before us. And that's from our parents, if we're fortunate enough to have them in our lives. It's our grandparents. It's the friends that we keep. It's the coaches we have. It's the teachers that we learn from. And it's the people that we want to engage. And that's walking down the street, and instead of having our head down looking at our phone, which we all do, I do, we open our eyes and we look for opportunity to impact. There's a young man on our team, I won't use his name, you'll recognize his name, but he's a devout Christian, and well, what the heck, I'm gonna tell you his name, Luke May. All right, so Luke and I have become pretty close, and we're in a men's group that meets once a month with other student athletes and other men in the community. And Luke said something to me, and I thought, I don't think I would have done this. He said, when I walk through campus and someone that I don't know says hello to me, now think about that. When he made that shot to go to the Final Four last year, he went from Luke May to the Pied Piper. All right? He walks through campus and people follow and want to talk to him about that moment. He said, when someone talks to me that I don't know, I ask them a question. I ask them a question to try and get to know them better. And he said, it's amazing the people that I have met over the past year that I never thought I would have encountered, and the opportunities that have come from that. Not the opportunities to do for himself, the opportunities to do for others. And Luke is going to the Children's Hospital now. Luke is bringing his teammates, Cameron Johnson from Pitt, Kenny Williams, who is not terribly comfortable in the Children's Hospital. Not a lot of people are, right? You're going in there and there's some pretty grave circumstances. But Luke is a conduit and a vehicle for a lot of good that's happening. And that's something that is inspiring to me, to watch a current student athlete walk that walk and take his platform. And I believe that, I don't know how many of you in here are Christians, I am. I believe that it's something that's okay to talk about in front of you, to say that I think that's our charge. And I think that's our charge as humanity, to find ways, whether you're Rotarians or whether you're students or whether you're student athletes, you are part of a bigger community. And it is our absolute responsibility to find ways to impact others around us. That's really my message to you. I thank you for the opportunity to come and talk with you about that. I think that it is a message that is big. You can think about it for a long time, not because it's what I said, but the message of service and giving back and how you do it and the opportunities that lie within. I do want to open it for questions. They don't have to be philosophical about service. We can talk basketball, we can talk student athletes, we can even talk NCAA. But